So, yeah, this is going to be a new thing for me. I am trying OBS Studio, which is why if this video, if there's, it seems a little off, the audio, I'm using this headset, which is super old for audio because I don't feel like setting up my mic yet. I'm going to get things kind of fixed the more I do these things, but I'm just experimenting. Previously, I had a MacBook Air, and I'm not a big fan of Apple, but I got to say, it's so much easier to do this on a MacBook than it is to do this as I'm doing it now. Not that there's anything wrong with OBS Studio. I know a lot of YouTubers use it, especially for streaming, but it takes some getting used to, and I'm not there yet. However, let's give this a go. So this video is because I bought the new Sony 20mm f1.8 G lens. It's not a G Master, it is a G lens. You might have seen recently a lot of famous YouTube photographers were posting hands-on videos with them, and that's cool, and they're better photographers than me. I always feel like I'm saying photographers, which I'm sure is a thing. Is that what they call pet photo? Oh god, that sounds like a pun. I mean, it really was a pun. I didn't intend it to be, but anyway. The difference between the two, and I don't know that there's a huge difference, is they were all given pre-production models, and I don't know that there's a huge difference between what ended up being the production model and the pre-production. But I decided to go ahead and make a video, show some pics that I took with it. When I got it, I immediately went out and took some photos over the last couple of days, because I've had it, today's Wednesday, I've had it since Monday. And again, most of those photographers are way, way, way better than me, and there's several of them that I aspire to be as good as. Certainly, I take inspiration from people like Manny Ortiz, Kai W. I can't remember if Jared Polin posted one. There's a couple of guys that I watched videos. I don't know if did Jared do one? I don't remember. Anyway, so not as good as those guys, but I'm just going to show you a couple of photos that I took. So I have an A7 III and an A6400. I wanted to try it and see how it functioned as a portrait lens. Now, 20 millimeters, typically not something you would view as a portrait lens, and especially on a full frame like the A7 III. And I got to say, the distortion on it as a proper 20 millimeter on a full frame is not really great for portraits. It was just a little too wonky. However, I then put it on my A6400, which is why I wanted this particular lens. Previously, and I'll go to it. Previously, I had this lens, the Sigma 16mm f1.4, and it is a really, really good lens. $400. You should, if you have an A6000 through A6600, one of those, if you don't have this lens, buy it. Really good lens. Highly recommend it. The reason that I went with the 20 millimeter was, so the 16 millimeter is effectively a 24 millimeter on an APS-C, which this is strictly an APS-C lens. It does not, it will work on an A7 III or another full frame Sony Alpha, but the truth is, like, if you have both, so I have an A7 III and A6400, on the A7 III I would have to switch it into crop mode, and there's no reason to do that because I have the A6400. There are reasons to do it if all you have is a full frame camera. There are reasons to put it in crop mode. That's not the case for me, so I wanted something that would fit both. I did debate on it because, as you can see, this is roughly around $400. Sony E-mount, $900. It's $500 difference. There was a part of me that was wondering, like, are you just doing this just because you want a new toy? And that's some of it. I'm doing more landscapes lately, and that's primarily why I got it. But so do highly recommend this. Please do buy it if you're strapped for cash and you have again, like an A6400, A6600, something like that, 6100. This is a very good lens to get. It is effectively 24 millimeters, and it is a 1.4, which is very nice. So when I got this lens, and I was getting a little bit of buyer's remorse before I went out and tried it. I was like, man, did you make a big mistake? Like, why did you really need this lens? Not really, but So I went and I took it out, and I wanted to show you some of the photos. So let's pull that up. Okay, so let's get right into it. So I immediately called up one of my closest friends, and I told her I wanted to take her kids, who are effectively, I'm Uncle Adam, wanted to take them to get some snowballs. If you don't know what a snowball is, you probably have something similar where you're from. Shaved ice, snow cones, Italian ice, they're all vaguely similar. Italian ice in particular in Florida was basically a snowball. Some of its flavor, some of its toppings. There's different things that snowballs do that these others don't. But we took them out for some snowballs, and this is my nephew / godson. Now, the reason that people generally don't use wide angle lenses is because of distortion. And like I said, on the A7 III 20 millimeters, I only took a couple of photos. They did not come out well, but didn't think they worked. But on the A60 400, because it's a crop sensor, it is effectively a 30 millimeter, which is not a bad focal length. So you might think, well, look, that kid's head looks huge. Yeah, but as much as I love my godson, and he is a beautiful boy, he does have a big head. So this is kind of appropriate. But what I do want to point out is the detail. Look at this. Now, at 1.8, the focal plane, I'm always saying that wrong. Somebody's going to correct me and say I'm an idiot, but whatever. The focal plane is very specific on this. So if you can see some catch light here, but you can still see the this is not, the eyes aren't quite in focus, but you can see very much the detail. The focal plane does go through the cup as well. Look at the exquisite detail, and like how creamy smooth this photo is. He was trying to eat his strawberry snowball. And I do want to say that as we go into the photos that are in color. You might see this dot right here. It's going to look like blood, realistically. The kids are going to look like they got into a huge fight with someone, but it is... this might be a scratch. I'm not sure. But you can see, if you look right here, the red dots, that is not blood either. That is a strawberry snowball. But check out the detail. You can see that in this picture, which I do love, he looks so freaking serious. I don't know if he was mad at me for taking the photo, because he has his moods. But again, you can see the catch light. The amount of detail. I mean, you can see the hairs on his head juxtaposed against the background. I actually genuinely love this photo. And this is my niece. Now, you'll notice some like yellow fringing. I think that's due to the light. I'm not sure. I have a tendency in bright light not to carry. I should carry around a diffuser. Of course, it would have looked pretty weird at a snowball stand. So I'll use like a cheap 2-stop ND filter to stop down a little bit and filter out some of the uneven light. I don't know which, like I don't think it hurts the image, but she does look a little yellow. Again, red dots. This was before she got messy. You'll see later on there's a photo where she gets messy. What is noticeable though is that on this one the focal planes kind of stayed even. You can see the threads of her jeans. Not to mention like the wisps of hair. Love this photo as well, and love her. They're both beautiful children. We're very, we're very proud of how good looking they are. Not that I have anything to do with it. I'm not genetically tied to them. I'm just Uncle Adam. But yeah. So effectively, again, this lens is 30 millimeters. That's me, a Santino Photography. Also known to some people as Buck Lightning, and that's why we're on the Buck Lightning Chronicles. But let's see. I'm in love with this photo of him. I do have to point out. So he was playing and got underneath the table, and none of these photos are obviously posed. I'm not against posing. I do posing on occasion, but I prefer genuine moments. That's why I'm trying to get more into street photography. And but so he got underneath the table. As I said, I had like a cheap ND filter, on my camera, and with kids, especially this one, you got to be quick. So like I ducked underneath the table. It was a little underexposed, so I had to bump up the exposure. But yeah, I'm in love with this photo. These flecks, again, you can see from the earlier photo. So he got a little messy with a snowball. But there's nothing wrong with this, like maybe some of you pixel peepers out there can look at this. Excuse me, I just had a little burp there. Can look at this and tell me like, oh, well, there's obvious distortion and blah, blah, blah. But I'm not seeing it. I think this photo is fine. He got a little silly here. And he was sort of getting closer to the camera, which I was trying to back off. But so you can see it gets a little out of focus on the forehead right here, because he had breached the plane where my minimum focusing distance had reached. But what I do want to point out is his nose was running. This camera is so sharp. This lens is so sharp. You can see his nose running. Again, he looks like he's been in a fight. This is, you can see the red lips. It's a strawberry snowball. But yeah, he made a mess of himself. But look at our handsome boy here. But the detail, the incredible detail on this. I am so far and away impressed with this camera. I keep saying camera. This lens. And that's our girl again. Again, she made a mess of herself. She looks like she had been bashing someone in the head. Next time we might have to go with a bubblegum snowball, something that does not look horrific. So obviously this is a landscape lens, not primarily. I mean primarily, but not necessarily. So I took it out and I put a more expensive. I bought a Gobe lens, a Gobe ND filter, not lens. They do something where they plant trees for every filter that you buy, and so I figured I'd give them a try. They claim to have no vignetting. I don't know if that's true, but seems to be pretty good so far. Went out to the lakefront on Lake Pontchartrain. Yeah, I can't swear to you that there's no chromatic aberration. Seems to be like some green fringing here. But digging the colors, digging the detail. Did it in black and white. Like the reflection. Wish the pool had been bigger so you can, like it's not. It's almost like it comes off a little hacky because the pool's not big enough to really reflect the whole thing, but I did like that. And I took a picture of the bridge that crosses the canal, and it was just fun. But yeah, now this was a longer exposure. In fact, I believe, yeah, all these were longer exposures. Doesn't I mean, I guess you could tell some of these clouds have moved a little bit, but for a lot most of these were like 4 or 5 seconds. One of them might have been 30. I'm not sure, but or it might have been one of the ones that I tossed away that I just wasn't happy with. But yeah, pretty cool. This was me. I decided to have a little fun with it and walk towards towards the cameras. I was doing a longer exposure, do something, make me look like a ghost. It's a little silly, but anyway, overall, love this lens. Dig the Spider-Man. If you've never played Marvel's Spider-Man on PlayStation, it's pretty awesome. But anyway, yeah, so tell me what you think, if you're interested in the lens, if you have any questions. Again, I am not nearly on the level of some of the photographers that got the pre-production models, the test models, but I really like this lens. It's probably going to live on my A6400. Part of the reason I got it was I have the 50 millimeter f1.8 FE, which is the full frame 50 millimeter. There is a more expensive APS-C 50 millimeter that has lens stabilization, which the A6400 doesn't have IBIS. However, again, like, I'm trying to get lenses that I can use on both cameras, so I went with a 50 millimeter full frame. Not a bad lens, especially for it's like $200. If you're just starting out, not a bad lens for your Sony Alpha. Is it a great lens? Is it like super sharp and all these things? No, but it's pretty good. I've taken some images that I love on that lens, with that lens. However, the 50 affects to 75. I kind of like this 30 millimeter focal length. Now I will be using this on my A7 III as well, but I think this 20 millimeter is just gonna live on this A6400 for the most part. And if you have any questions, I'm going to try and make more videos. I'm going to try and be more proactive. If you watched on my last video, I might have mentioned I am no longer employed, so I'm doing things on the side. I'm trying to start a photography career. I've been very inspired by a lot of the YouTubers. I've learned so much. And I just want to be, I don't necessarily want to be a huge YouTuber. That'd be great. I don't see it happening, but I do want to be a great photographer. My goal for 2019 was to improve my photography skills and become a good photographer, and I feel like I am. I feel like I know what I'm doing, and there's no reason. I've definitely seen people that make money at it that, not trying to trash people, but don't know what they're doing, and I feel like, well, I'm better than them. There's no reason. If they can do it, I can do it. Where was I going with this? But anyway, but yes, I want to make more videos. In the meantime, I have a bunch of projects that I'm trying to get off the ground. Yeah, any questions, any thoughts, please feel free to post it. Sorry for the audio. I'm going to try and figure things out. When I have a little money, I'm going to get possibly a better webcam. I'm not sure how well this one did, but it seemed okay when I was looking at it through OBS. And I need a better audio setup. I do have a microphone that I can hook up, but it's just more equipment and figuring out a place to put it. But anyway, thank you for watching. I've been Buck Lightning, also known as, didn't mean to do that quickly. Also known as Adam Santino for A. Santino Photography. If you're in the greater New Orleans area or in southern Mississippi, and you're looking for a photographer, let me know. Also going to link to my Pixie account, which has some of my landscape and art photography. Hey, if you're interested in supporting me, at least give it a look. You might see something you're looking for. I don't make a lot of money off my Pixie set photos, but hey, money's money, right? So thank you, and goodbye.